I'm Christina Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. Christopher Wray has been hit with a $25 million January 6 lawsuit that accuses the former FBI director of orchestrating a deliberate infiltration of a peaceful protest. January 6 defendant Jake Long made the announcement saying that Wray's actions led to wrongful prosecutions and prolonged suffering for those arrested and jailed in connection with January 6. Lang spent more than 467 days behind bars without a trial, much of it in solitary confinement. He says the charges against him were fabricated. Recently released data confirms the FBI sent out at least 274 plainclothes agents into the crowds at the Capitol on January 6, a fact that contradicts Wray's repeated sworn testimony to Congress, where he denied that the FBI was there. President Donald Trump and current FBI Director Kash Patel said the new information proves that Wray perjured himself and fueled a quote-unquote Fedsurrection, then targeted law-abiding citizens. The lawsuit names the 274-plus agents as co-defendants, charging them with entrapment by inciting violence among otherwise peaceful demonstrators. Internal FBI after-action reports detail how these agents, unmarked and armed, operated without clear protocols, raising questions about their true intent. Patel accused Wray's quote-unquote corrupt leadership of deploying agents against FBI standards, turning them into unwitting political pawns. Somali migrants are costing taxpayers in the Netherlands hundreds of thousands of dollars per migrant over their lifetime. An analysis released by the Institute of Labor Economics, IZA, went over decades of taxpayer data and found that first-generation migrants from the Horn of Africa and Sudan, Somalia, have an average lifetime net cost of $760,000 per person. The study also found that migrants from North America and Japan actually generated a surplus of about $300,000 per person. The study tracked taxes paid against benefits drawn over full lifetimes. The tax burden balloons for families. Somali households, two parents entering at age of 30 with kids at 0 and 10, rack up a per-person deficit of almost $900,000 because of their low employment, high dependence on welfare, and integration shortfalls. In the United States, about 81.5% of the Somali population is unemployed or underemployed. That number is slightly lower in Minnesota at 80%, which boasts the largest concentration of Somalians in the United States. They are centered mostly in Ilhan Omar's Minneapolis. An in-depth study on the cost of Somalis per lifetime hasn't been complete yet for the U.S. However, a 2018 state audit revealed a cost of $181 million in 2015 for human services for Somali migrants, i.e. cash aid, Medicaid, food stamps, for 24,000 refugees, many of whom were Somali, with $240,000 spent in interpreters alone. And real quick, I want to remind you that Medicare costs are set to go up next year, which means you're going to be facing higher premiums, deductibles, and surcharges for the next decade. And some Medicare Advantage plans are disappearing altogether. If you're a senior and you're tired of dealing with the nonstop calls and texts, or maybe find this entire process overwhelming, don't quit just yet. Because if you don't take a look at your options, you could be paying much more than you have to, or even lose out on coverage. Instead, I've got a simple solution for you. Chapter. I've partnered with Chapter because I believe in their cause. They want to help. They'll review every single plan, recommend one that fits your needs, and on average save you more than $1,000 a year. The best part is it's free. Take 20 minutes and call the number on your screen to talk to an advisor, or go to askchapter.org/Christina. Don't wait till the last minute. The Medicare annual enrollment ends in December, so now's the time. Call Chapter. A 38-year-old accountant, Benjamin Michael Campbell, has been arrested after allegedly opening fire on 62-year-old Mark Thomas, a MAGA supporter, after Campbell ripped down a Trump campaign sign on the man's property. It happened in North Carolina. According to Thomas, Campbell was driving down the road when he spotted the Trump sign displayed on Thomas's property. That's when he said Campbell came to a screeching stop in what Thomas described as a political trigger moment. Campbell slammed on his brakes, leaped from his vehicle, and tore down the sign. Thomas said, quote unquote, he started reaching up on his tippy toes, trying to get to the edge of the sign. I just thought to myself, this is not happening. I don't believe this. Thomas thought things could get ugly, so he rushed outside and fired 2 warning shots into the air to stop Campbell. By that time, Campbell had finished tearing down the sign, threw it to the ground, then returned to his car. got a gun and fired 5 to 6 rounds at Thomas. Campbell was arrested and is being charged with felony assault and is facing up to 17 years behind bars if convicted. The No Kings protest in Chicago featured a massive constitutional We the People prop, prompting critics to say it's a sign of the big money funding that went into the event. The No Kings protests are facing accusations that they weren't spontaneous, but rather coordinated by a coalition of progressive NGOs, labor unions, and big money Democratic donors like George Soros under the No Kings banner. Many are now saying that the banner, which clocks in at around 75 feet long by 20 feet wide and rolled out like a giant scroll on the streets, is evidence of a paid, planned protest and not an organic grassroots affair. Others are pointing out that this is the same group of people who called the founding fathers racist, the Constitution invalid, and tore down numerous statues during the summer of George Floyd because the statues and monuments were seen as symbols of systemic racism and slavery. Examples of statues torn down by protesters: the George Washington statue in Portland, Oregon on June 18th, all in 2020. Thomas Jefferson statue at Jefferson High School in Portland, Oregon on June 14th. Thomas Jefferson statue in downtown Oregon, Portland, Oregon on July 4th. The George Washington statue in Minneapolis in late June of 2020. Another Thomas Jefferson statue in Decatur, Georgia on June 19th. A Thomas Jefferson statue at Hofstra University in Hempstead, New York. It was moved on June 23rd under threat of destruction. Another Thomas Jefferson statue in New York City Hall was removed on November 22nd, 2021. That's what you need to know. In Dallas, Christina Aguayo.